Hi there, ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening and a very warm welcome here to the Spanish Hall here at the Winter Gardens in Blackpool, one of the most famous venues in world darts, and we're delighted to be here for the BetVictor PDC Fans Forum ahead of the World Matchplay, which gets underway tomorrow night, of course. It's all live on Sky Sports with our friends at BetVictor. It's a second PDC Fans Forum. You can fire your questions via Twitter using the hashtag PDC Fans Forum, and we'll read questions out throughout the course of the evening. We've had quite a lot submitted already over the course of the last week via Twitter. We've got an excellent crowd in here tonight that are going to fire questions as well. I hope you're all ready with some questions for the guests. Don't be too shy. We've got microphones ready to come amongst the audience to fire questions to our very special panel of guests here this evening. And without further ado, let us bring onto the stage our guests. First of all, we're hugely honoured to welcome one of the characters of the game, one of the household names, 5 times champion of the world. Would you please welcome here to the PDC Fans Forum with BetVictor, the crafty Cockney, Eric Bristol!
London calling to the faraway towns. Now war is declared and battle come down. London calling to the underworld. Come out of the cupboard, you boys and girls. London calling, now don't look to us. Phony Beatlemania is putting the
He's dropped his paper, he's knocked his water over the place.
That's a good start, that's a great start.
How are you? Evening? Right, we tell the truth here, right?
No holds barred where Eric's concerned.
So if you don't like it, it's tough.
Yep. Eric, let's talk about the odds with BetVictor ahead of the BetVictor World Matchplay getting underway tomorrow, of course. And there's a new customer offer with BetVictor. Yeah. We've got 5-1 for Michael Van Gerwen to win the BetVictor World Matchplay, or 6-1 for Phil Taylor to win the BetVictor World Matchplay. That's a new customer offer. What are your thoughts?
I think it's a great offer. I mean, I asked them earlier on, is it each way? And they said no, they bottled out on it. So, but the odds great. I suppose if you're going to have one out of the two of them, you'd have Phil Taylor. He's won it the last 6-7 years or whatever it is. So I mean, it's his sort of thing. He plays Blackpool like we used to play county games. A lot of the new dart players don't know what county games are. They never played county games. But when you first used to play darts, I used to play for London. And then we used to play a county game every weekend or every month, and best of 5 legs. And he just takes it as every 5 legs. He plays a player first round. He does them 3-2 the first session, 3-2 the second session, 4-1 the third session. It all sounds nice and easy. And you look at the score, it's 10-5. And he's through the first round, and that's the way he does it. He takes every session as just win each session. That's what it's all about. And as 6-1, I don't think he'll win it this year. I don't think Van Gerwen will win it this year. I think there's going to be a different winner this year. I think Gary Anderson. I don't think Gary will win it this year. I think Gary's had his luck. He was lucky to win the world. Hold on. Listen, I'm here to say something. I mean, Gary had his luck. I mean, Phil missed loads of doubles in the world final, and Gary nicked that. Nobody takes nothing away from Gary Anderson. All the dart players don't take nothing away from Gary Anderson being a world champion. He was too good a player never to be a world champion. He won it. Premier League, Chisnell should have beat him in the semi-final. He's rode his luck now. He won't win nothing else.
Eric, well, there you go. Eric, you mentioned to me a little bit earlier a man on form. Robert Thornton is at 66-1 with BetVictor.
Yeah, and I had £20 on him the other day at 50-1. I've had Robert Thornton. I always bet people in form. Last weekend there was a tournament in Germany. Robert Thornton won it. He had 111 average in the semi-final against one of the gentlemen coming up here, James Wade, who's playing well at the moment as well. 111 average. He beat James 6-1. You can't argue with that. And in the final, he beat, funny enough, the other gentleman that's coming up here tonight, he beat Kim Huybrechts, who beat Van Gerwen in the other semi-final, and he had 106 average against Kim Huybrechts. So the only trouble about Robert Thornton is he's never frigging won a game up here. He hasn't. I think the last 4 years he's lost 10-0, 10-1, 10-1, 10-3 or something. He's got a terrible record in at Blackpool, but I think he's got a nice little draw there, and he's got to take a lot of out last weekend, especially playing that well, because he hasn't played well for 18 months, and we know he's a good player. He's done it before. He's got over the winning line before. He beat Phil Taylor at the Reebok to win that, so he's won a major. So yeah, better than Scotland doing the football, that's for sure.
I knew that wouldn't take long. Eric, thanks for the time being. Just going through a few odds.
Have you seen our cricket today? Yeah.
With BetVictor. We're ahead of the BetVictor World Matchplay here in the Winter Gardens, which is where we are tonight in the Spanish Hall for our BetVictor PDC Fans Forum. We're delighted to be here. Thanks to Eric for now. Let's introduce you to the two players that are our guests on the panel this evening as well. Two top fellas as well, ready to join us here on stage. A former World Matchplay champion and one of the top players in the world. A lovely fella as well. You're going to find that out over the next hour or so. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome on stage here, the machine, James Wade.
I didn't want you sitting on that.
Good evening, James. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us here. Looking forward to the week ahead. Hopefully a long week for you.
Yeah, it's my favourite tournament. I've got a good record here. Come into good form in the last 2 months, and I'm feeling quietly confident.
Yeah.
You know, that I can make an impact on the tournament and perhaps go all the way.
Well, we'll talk to you about your opponent for the first game and a lot of other things as well here at the forum tonight. But without further ado, let's bring up our next guest as well, and it's great to welcome him from Belgium, of course. He really is one of the most exciting players to watch, as Eric mentioned in a final last weekend, averaged over 100 as well. Would you please welcome Kim Huybrechts?
Going down the bumpy hillside in your hippie hat, flying across the country and getting fat.
Hello.
Kim, welcome along.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Thanks.
Looking forward to the week ahead. Like I said to James, hopefully a long week for you. But of course, Peter Wright, tomorrow night, around about 8 o'clock tomorrow, you're playing. What are your thoughts on that? Feeling good?
Yeah, feeling good. A lot of confidence. Played well over the past few weeks. Reached 2 finals, one on the floor and one in Germany. So yeah, feeling good.
One stat here, though, never got to the last 16 here in Blackpool. You won't need reminding of that.
No.
Can you put that right? Does it play on your mind? Is it something that you don't need reminding of?
No, it's just, well, the opponents are very good if you're in this tournament. I haven't played my best here yet, but I like to see it as it hasn't been my tournament so far. But one day, you have to get past the first round, and then who knows.
James, just a quick question for you. Kyle, let's get this out of the way straight away. The opponent for the first round, Kyle Anderson, Australian, of course, had that memorable 9-darter at the World Championships. What are your thoughts on that game?
Yeah, I mean, he's a great player. My mindset, first of all, was I got Kyle Anderson to play. And then I reversed it round and someone gave me a little quiet word. He's got James Wade to play. So I'm going to use that as my confidence in the game. Like I say, he's a great player and he's a fantastic scorer. He had an unofficial world record about 2 months ago in a floor tournament. I think it was 130? 131? 135. So, yeah, he's pretty good. But, it's a big stage, it's a big room, it's a big tournament. It's a racer game. and that format suits me. If I win or not, who knows? But I'll be out to win that night.
Well, we wish you well. And again, we appreciate your time joining us here tonight. Let me just throw it to the floor straight away. Has anybody got any questions immediately here on the floor? There's a young man down here. We'll come to you very shortly. Yes, sir, over to you. We've got a microphone with Ollie over here. What's your question? Who's it to, and what's the question, sir?
Firstly, it's for James. James, you're excellent on the floor. We love you in Scotland as well, but one question. Obviously, you've never given up the darts, but has Samantha?
I missed that last bit, sorry.
You've never given up the darts, but has Samantha?
Giving up darts?
Yeah, you've never given up the darts, but where has Samantha given up the darts? Yeah.
Can I? Who's Samantha?
Sammy.
Oh, Sammy. Oh, that's not Samantha, is it?
I'm confused about her giving up.
The walk-on.
Okay, I'm with you now. Yeah, I mean, she's put that to the byweight now, and she helps me with my darts, taken on almost a management role, and it's working well at the moment. We argue about it, but she's always right because she's the boss, and she's done the world of good for me. She's been brilliant, great support. I'm a lucky boy.
Yeah. Of course she's always right, James. That goes without saying. We've got a question from this young man down here. What's your name, young man? How old are you? How old are you? 6. What's your question? Who's it to?
Everyone.
Everyone.
Kim, this is for you. Who do you play against and how do you beat them?
Sorry? Say that again.
How do you beat them?
When you play your opposition, how do you beat them?
Yeah, when you play...
How do you destroy your player?
How do I beat?
How do you... I think what the young man's trying to say is when you play your opponent, how do you try and wear them down?
All right. I try to play my own game. I don't really pay much attention to my opponents because if you're good enough, you can beat anyone on the day. So don't watch your opponent too much and play your own game.
Thanks, Kim. We've got a question on Twitter here from Jordan Lee for Eric. Eric, do you think Peter Wright can win his first major at the match play this week?
No.
Thanks for that.
No, I think Peter's playing well. Peter's playing well. He's to win a major is a big thing. There's about 15 or 16 players, maybe 12, 13 that could win Blackpool now. Where like years ago, you could have most likely said there was 5 or 6 because there's that many good players now. So, but I don't think Peter's ready yet, and he's never got over that line. So. If he ever does get to another final yet, so I mean, not talking about him winning it, he's got to get to a final first, so let's see if he gets to a final. But yeah, I like his dance on the stage, so that's good, yeah. That's like Bobby George's walk on, he never won that one either.
We've got a question for James on Twitter, at Dep180. James, why is the match play your favourite tournament?
It is honestly my favourite tournament. It's perfect in my opinion as a venue. The crowd are great. They're a real dart-orientated crowd, and I think the format is the best format for dart players. It's perfect. It reflects on how you're playing. Sets sometimes you can lose some and you can nick some, but I think the racer game's the best format in the world.
And a question for Kim from Edward, who sent it in via email. I like competing against my friends, but get bored and distracted when practicing. How do you professionals keep your interest up during those long hours on the practice board?
Well, I myself, I like to play different sort of games, games on doubles or scoring. So as long as you have a bit of variation in your games, then it makes it interesting, more interesting to play it. So yeah, different games.
And a great one from Mark Brooker for Eric. Blackpool's known for being very hot on the stage here at the Winter Gardens. Eric, do you think it's hotter on that stage than it was in the jungle?
No. No, the jungle's very hot. I mean, it is very hot for the dart players here, and it's a beautiful venue. It is a high ceiling. Usually when you get the hot venues, it's a low ceiling. I don't know what it is about Blackpool. It's the time of year. It always seems to be nice weather. It's just, but this place is a lovely place to play in. As a dart player, all these 32 dart players starting tomorrow night are privileged to play on this stage. And who gives a damn if it's hot or not? I mean, you want to be hot in the final. You don't want to be sitting there at cold at home watching the final, do you?
A question for Kim. What's your most memorable match in the PDC so far? Can you pinpoint one in particular?
Has to be the Michael van Gerwen game in the Grand Slam. Beating the world #1 by that score with the way I played. Having a 9-darter as well was, probably my best game ever. So that's the most memorable game.
That's not bad, is it? I mean, that's a bad game, you know what I mean? It's his best game, beating Michael van Gerwen and doing a 9-darter. I think I could have answered that for him myself, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Kim, a question I think as well about the Premier League. How hard was the Premier League? Because you had some moments, you showed glimpses of what you could do, but was it as tough as you expected or maybe even tougher?
No, it was as tough as I expected. You play in the highest ranked tournament in the world with the best players in the world. I made some mistakes, and every time I made a mistake and missed 3 darts at a double, it cost me the match. And that's what the Premier League is all about. You can't make mistakes. You're not allowed to make a mistake. And it's been a big learning moment for me as well. Being on that stage against them players was just amazing, and it made me only want to be there again. So, yeah, it was brilliant.
Do you think that 9-darter at Wolverhampton was a contributory factor in showing what a fine player you are, and that maybe that helped you get a Premier League spot, Kim?
Yeah, probably. A lot of people tell me that the match against MVG was one of the biggest reasons I'm in the Premier League. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I'm not there deciding who's in the Premier League. But I know I can do a bit more of that. I just need to get a bit more consistent, and when I can get that done, then I can have more games like that.
I thought he played well in the Premier League. Like, I'm just like a watcher. And I mean, some of the weeks he come up against players and he hit the wrong player at the wrong time, and that's the trouble with that. There's 8 great dart players. Some weeks you come up against somebody, they do 111 average, and you lose 8-3, whatever it is, and you watch another game and you think, why didn't I play them this week? So I thought he'd done well the first. The Premier League has killed a lot of dart players, and since the Premier League, he's played well again. I mean, the Premier League killed Wayne Mardell, Peter Manley, we could go on and on and on about it. Painter and Lloyd and whatever else. But as he's played in the Premier League, and he got in the final last weekend, the Premier League hasn't phased him, so that's good for his future of his game. So, just butting in, that's all.
No, it's worth a round of applause, I think. I think Kim did very well in the Premier League. James, fond memories for yourself here. It's 9 years ago now, back in 2006, as a young man, when you got to your first final here. So, fond memories. You were leading Phil that night, ultimately missed out, but you know, you've got fond memories of this place, and it was only a year later, 2007, that fantastic year for you, 2007, which was so special, Young Player of the Year, PDC Player of the Year, and all the rest of it. Great memories for you.
Yeah, I think if I'm honest, the first year in this, to reach a final was not realistic, didn't think it was possible, and from that I gained the confidence to believe I was a professional dart player and believe that I can play the game to a top level. And as you say, the year after, it was probably the easiest the game's ever been for me. You know, I was extremely confident. People thought when they were playing me that they're playing me. And when those things are all right and they're all together, it's a massive jigsaw. If that jigsaw's completed, it's such an easy game at times, you know. When there's a bit missing, it's the hardest game, and you know, simple things that you do wrong and you think, you know, how am I missing these shots? It's easy, you know, but, you know, if something's not right, you know, at home or work, wherever it may be, it's a tough game and it's a lonely place. You ain't got any defenders there to look after you. You know, you're up there, you're on your own.
And every mistake gets punished in this day and age, doesn't it? The higher the standard gets.
Yeah, it does. You know, I believe 10 years ago, Phil Taylor was, you know, the only person that could do what he was doing. You know, now you've got, if I'm honest, probably. Good evening, sir. I think you've probably got 8 people that can do as much damage as Phil at any given time. The thing with Phil, he's a little bit more reliable with his pressures that he puts you under. And I still think he's the most knowledgeable man in the game. But we've seen him lose regularly now. So it makes everyone else believe, you know, that he's beatable regularly. And it's a good thing. It's a good thing for the game.
Just a reminder, the hashtag on Twitter is hashtag PDCFansForum. You can go through our Facebook page as well to fire questions in that are coming through to us on the stage here on a monitor just in front of us. We are going to go back out to the audience as well. It's like an auto cue, Eric.
The monitor's just there.
Yeah, perfect. Has anybody...
No, what James just said then is like 8-10 years ago, Phil Taylor was like killing everybody. But he was averaging 104, 105, then he'd do his 111 and he'd wipe the boys out. Now, all these other lads are doing, every now and then they're doing 111 average and 106. Like Robert Thornton last weekend, done 111 against James in the semi, 106 against Kim in the final. You know, that wasn't heard of 10, 12 years ago. So, and it's not only him, I mean, look, Kim's done it as well, 110, 111. So now all of a sudden, if like Phil has a little bit of an off game and he runs into one of these boys who has their on game, Phil's out. And this Blackpool's going to be the best Blackpool of all, I'll tell you. Because there's so many like prima donnas in this game who really think they're good players. And there's going to be a few of them first round go out, and I'm going to love every minute of it.
Well, Eric, with BetVictor...
Because when they all go out and go home, I'm going to still be here working for Sky. And I'm going to be going, do. Just like our cricket players, you know what I mean? Crap.
9-dart finish with BetVictor in the tournament, a 9-dart finish in the tournament. It's got to happen, hasn't it? 8-11, yes. Evens, no.
8-11. I mean, to be quite honest, you cannot give a decent bet on a 9-darter now the way these dart players are playing, because they're all capable of doing it. 8-11 would maybe be a good bet if they'd done it first round, because all these players now, they do it every tournament they go to each weekend is a 9-darter, not from a certain player, from loads of different players. I mean, how many, like last year at the dinner award, I think there was 37 different players who done a 9-darter. So, I mean, it's not like just one of the top 8 players doing it. Anyone can do a 9-darter now. They practice. This is their job. This is their double 12. Phil Taylor can. Phil Taylor hits double 12 when it's not in.
You're at the PDC Fans Forum here with BetVictor at the Winter Gardens in Blackpool, ahead of the BetVictor World Matchplay getting underway tomorrow evening here in Blackpool. 7 o'clock start time tomorrow night. Good crowd here. Good questions coming through on Twitter and Facebook as well. Hashtag PDC Fans Forum. And we've got an opportunity for some more questions from the audience. Well, there's a few hands going up here. Yes, so who's the question for and what's your question?
It's for Kim. I'm just wondering, would he have liked to play Paul Nicholson in first round of this?
Well, yeah, because I always play quite good against Paul, so yeah, no problem.
Would you like to see that?
And some more, yeah, another question down here, so yes.
Yeah. The PDC are never afraid to change venues for different events like the World Championships, the Open. But does any of the panel agree with me that the match play should always remain at the Blackpool Winter Gardens?
Who said
This guy down here. Should the match play?
Really? Yes, yeah. I think most of the players would agree with you. I mean, we've had to change venues for money reasons. We had to change our World Championship from Purfleet. We love the venue, only a little venue, but now you look at, we're at the top of the hill, Muswell Hill. We're there, mate, and
what about the ticket sales for this Christmas?
It earns money and it pays pays all their wages for every weekend. So that's why we moved. We had to move, but I'd like to see Blackpool stay here. But sometimes, well, Crucible done it with snooker, and so they've stuck by it. I really can't see Blackpool moving. We get the viewing figures on TV. We don't really need to fleece anybody else. I mean.
Question at the back of the room. Yes, sir. Who's it for and what's your question?
It's for James. In 2010, you played Phil Taylor in the final of the Premier League. It was 10-8 to Taylor, and he had to hit two 9-darters to beat you. What do you take from that? And does he still have the air of invincibility that he once had?
Yeah, I think if he didn't hit one of those, I definitely would have won another leg, but you never know with Phil what he's going to do. He does have that gear sometimes that you think, you know, where have you gone from 110 average and up to 116 all of a sudden just to win those 2 more legs? Has he got that presence anymore and that dominance on the hockey? No, because no one's afraid of him anymore. Is he still good? Yeah. But, you know, he'll always be Phil, you know, but you don't look across a row of players now and think, oh, there's Phil. You just look across all of them. You know, he's still got presence. He's still a dominant player, but it's not the same anymore. Which is it's kind of sad for darts. It's kind of sad for the fans of the die-hard fans that want to see Phil win everything. But you know, it's great.
All 4 of them.
You never know. But you know, it opens the game up for everyone. You know, it opens the game up for everyone, and it opens up the game for all the supporters. You know. I think it's good.
And we've got a question for Kim that has just come in via Twitter, Jimmy180. Kim, do you believe that if you can win one major title soon, you can kick on and win many more in your career?
Well, yeah, they say the first one is always the hardest one, so but I'll have to make sure that I win one first to think about other titles. So that's going to be the hardest one. But yeah, if you don't think you can win a major, then I think you've chosen the wrong profession. If all the players that are here have to believe it, because if you're not strong on that hockey, then you'll get battered. And well, you have to be very strong and have the beliefs in yourself. So yeah, I think so. Yeah.
You're a passionate player as well, Kim. We've seen the emotion on the slow motion replays on Sky when we're working on Sky Sports and other broadcasters, of course. But you know, you're a passionate player. Your reactions and you wear your heart on your sleeve, and you really do feel it, and you give it absolutely everything, don't you?
Yeah. I'm a very emotional player. Exactly. Every game I go into, I'm very nervous, and I always try to be strong and be very focused and emotional in games. But that's often because, well, not that I doubt myself, but I want to win so badly that the emotions just come, and it's not something I think about or something that's a tactic or something. It just comes.
Yeah. The man in the middle of our panel, Mr. Wade here, by the way, statistically is the second most successful player in World Matchplay history behind Phil Taylor. And we're honoured to have him, so I think that's worth a round of applause for James. Fantastic. And there's a question from Callum. There's a question from Callum Marion that has come through. I think that might be via Facebook. James, it's used the word training. Did you train more for the match play this year, considering it's your favourite event? Do you put any more preparation in than any other tournament?
I haven't done any running.
Well, that's why I hesitated about the word training.
No,
straight from the gym.
I don't think you can do anything different for any tournament. You know, I mean, I know certain people and players have got their mind that you should train harder or practice more for the World Championships. But I think if you do that, I think you can highlight that it's a big occasion and you're putting yourself under pressure that you don't even know about. You know, I approach every tournament the same. You know, if I feel good, I play well. If I feel bad, I play bad. You know, and I just think, just do what's normal to yourself.
And we've got a great question for Eric coming up shortly. But whilst I've got you, James, what is the best match that you have ever? This is from Kai McKenna 25 on Twitter. Keep them coming, by the way. What is the best match, James, that you've ever played in, and why? And the next bit is, how many majors would you like to win in the rest of the year? Well, I think the answer's every one, isn't it? But
loads.
Yeah, loads. What's the best match you've ever played in, and why?
I think it's been answered already. You know, it's against Phil in that Premier League final. There's others that have come close. You know, I played Robert Thornton in the World Grand Prix last year. The situation, the occasion, you know, what Robert was going through at the time, it was an emotional game for him, and I found it hard to play against that. But it was a good game. But you know, the best game I've ever played and participated in is Phil Taylor. You know, how can you beat what he did?
Good answer. Eric, we've got a question here, and I like questions like this.
It just trusts me like that.
I know, and you can't read it, can you? It's
it's
only that big, the typeface.
I don't want to read it. I don't want to know what the question is.
Okay, right. I like questions like this.
Good, let's go for it.
Yeah, let's go for it. If you could... Is he getting on your nerves? Eric, if you could take any player from the 70s and 80s to play in the PDC today, who would it be and why?
Me. That's the end of it, yeah.
I presume that doesn't mean you. Any player from the 70s and the 80s. And why?
Because he wouldn't care. He wouldn't care what their averages was or whatever. That's it. He just went up there and played dart. John would have been just steady, and Jockey would have, Jockey would have enjoyed it. Same as me. Ripped his head up with shit in the neck. Yeah.
I knew we'd get a great answer to that.
Yeah. That's the way Jockey was. I mean, he didn't care. He's the same as me, no fear. Don't care who you play. Got 3 darts. They hit at 180, you come back 180. That's the way it should be. That's what these players are playing now.
And have we got any more questions from the floor? I know there's one down here that you've been waiting quite patiently, sir, so apologies for that. Front row, this gentleman here. Who's your question for, and what is the question, sir?
Question's for Eric. It's well known that you mentored and sponsored Phil for a good few years.
Yeah, 4 years.
Did you ever think he would become the monster of the game that he did? And also, do you ever regret it?
Don't regret it, because I mean, it's done the world of darts, the world of good, isn't it? I mean, it's superb. It's a bit of fun. I had the sticks then, so I sponsored Phil. He used to come in the pub and took him all around the world for 3 or 4 years, trying to create another world number one, and then all of a sudden it kind of backfired on me. No, the only reason it backfired on me is because I started playing all right here and there, and like 3 months I didn't have sticks, then 3 months I had sticks, then 3 months I didn't have sticks. Then all of a sudden I ended up playing him in the world final. So my whole idea was to watch him win the world final. But the trouble is I was up on the stage at the time. So but he's been great for the game. I mean, he's brought the game on. And these other young lads that are coming through now are going to improve it even better. It's not just in Britain anymore. I mean, it's Japan, Abu Dhabi, they're going all over the place now. China, Australia, New Zealand. It's great that our sport has come that far. And hey, we're all parts of a jigsaw, mate. I was one part, Jockey was one part, Lowy was a part. Phil Taylor's just another part, and once he disappears, the game will go on.
Apologies for any choice language that may have offended you there, folks.
Why was that then?
It was.
I'm not apologising.
Never asked you to, Eric.
That's all right then. Don't invite me again.
And all of a sudden, there's loads of hands going up in the audience. We've got another one over here. Yes. Who's it for?
My question's to Eric. Because we're in Blackpool and the lad I'm on about only lives down the road, why do you feel Wes Newton has fallen from grace so rapidly?
Well, he's a nice fella, and there's nothing wrong with him. No one's got no bad words to say about Wes. I mean, he was like doing so well, and I don't know. I mean, some of these players just hit the fan, don't they? And he's going to find it very difficult to get back now. I mean, he's not the only one. You know what I mean? If Whitlock doesn't do well this weekend, he's going to be another one out the window. There's loads of these top players who were earning good money years ago, and all of a sudden they're out the window. So, no, Wes Newton was a great dart player, but he's another one. He never won nothing. So, I mean, you don't win nothing, you disappear, don't you? I mean, Andy Hamilton. I mean, Andy Hamilton, he played. I've got 2 ears and all. Andy Hamilton. Shut up, will you? Andy Hamilton got in the last 8 of tournaments for 2 years on the trot, and that's what he done. He was a steady, consistent dart player. And now I've just looked at the odds here, and he's at the bottom there.
750 to 1 with BetVictor.
750 to 1. So I mean, that's all I'm saying is, people last so long and they disappear. Maybe this might be another little thing for Andy. Andy's got to do well at this one, otherwise he'll be another one disappearing.
Maybe it's a sign of the times about how hard it is to claw your way back when you're out of form as well, because of how well everybody else is playing, Eric.
Well, then all of a sudden, when you're really struggling and you need them points or the money to make the points, you get a game that's 5-all at the weekend, and you leave a double, and the guy goes out on a 1-4-6, and you stand behind him, and he hits the 61st dart, and you know he's going to go out on it. I mean, these dart players know exactly what I'm on about when it's a close game. And they hit their first treble, and you think, sugar, he's going to hit this. But when you're on a roll, they miss them shots, and you do that. So, I don't know. It's like, hey, that's sport. That's sport. You know, if you're good enough in this game, I think they play for about 22 weekends over the year. You've got no excuse if you sleep out the top 32. Down to you. You're not good enough.
And there's a question over here. Gentleman with the white polo shirt on there. What's your question? Who's it for, first of all?
It's a question for Kim. To the tournament itself, obviously starting tomorrow, you've been drawn as an unseeded player. Does that sort of take the pressure off yourself as an unseeded player, as opposed to being a seeded player and almost having the expectation to sort of come through the first round and then go on into the tournament, as opposed to, say, being a non-seeded player and trying to cause an upset?
Well, the pressure is the same. I think if you're number 16 or 17, I don't think that makes a lot of difference. The only big difference is you can be drawn against, well, Phil, Michael, James. That's the only big difference, but I don't think it takes on extra pressure. You have to beat them if you want to win the title, and if you want to beat them first round, semi-final, final, second round, doesn't matter. You have to beat them anyway, so no extra pressure for that.
And another question over here. Sir, what's your, who's it for?
For Eric. With you bringing Phil through and Phil bringing AD through, is there anyone that you feel that is coming up now that you'd bring through, like, that you would endorse that you did Phil?
Well, I'll bring nobody else through now. I mean, I'll talk to people and that's about it. But I mean, I'm too old now to bring people through. I mean, I talk to somebody, that's about it. Yeah, that's all I do now. I mean, I'm retired now, and I enjoy my job on Sky, and I love watching the dart players, and it's just, I've got a great life. And you couldn't sponsor somebody and take them around for 4 years and try and... I mean, it's like all these other like youth academies and things like that, they're all doing that. Linda Batten's got this Josh Payne, she's trying to get on, and people like that. And it's good for these people to back these people, because these young players need backing. It costs a lot of money to play the darts circuit, and but not for me no more, mate. I'm going to Tenerife in the sun.
Tenerife in the sun.
I'm in the sun.
And this week we're in Blackpool in the sun.
Oh, yeah, I love Blackpool. Blackpool's
a great week.
I mean, it's a great week, and some great darts.
We've got a question over here, Ollie, in the middle of the room. This lady over here. We've got a microphone. The microphone's coming from everywhere. Well, good evening. What's your question? Who's it for?
Mine is for James, and it's really why the change of your walk-on song?
I don't know. Ask Sky. No.
So is it then that influenced that then?
It's quite easy to.
He's not bonkers anymore.
No, that's it. Yeah. Basically, I thought if I take the mickey out myself with the song, it'll shut people up. And then I realised 2 years later it was a bit of a stupid thing to do, and I wasn't quite as mad. So I changed it, and then Sky didn't like that, so they changed it, and then it got changed again, and I'm not even sure what it is anymore. So it's like a surprise when I come out. It's good.
Yeah, Sky should have changed it without asking him. What happens? Yeah, they done that without asking him. What you got to do is, if it's somebody's walk-on song, you should ask them, shouldn't you?
We got loads of hands going up in the middle of the room over here. There's a gentleman in the red t-shirt at the back there, yeah? You can use a microphone so our viewers can watch, sir. I can hear you.
What would have been my walk-on song years ago?
That would be your walk-on song.
Years ago?
What, yeah?
I'd have had Another One Bites the Dust. Yeah. And I'd have been on the stage, and as they walked up, I'd have been going, Another One Bites the Dust. And I just pointed at them. And then they went home. Just like you jocks will.
What was that, though, the other week when we were working together, Eric, on an exhibition, and you had Chaz and Dave and Rabbit?
Yeah.
Rabbit.
I've had a few. There's a couple of good walk-on mute. Yeah, you've got. That's another part of the game, isn't it? It's another part of their game. You need a nice walk-on song, and if you get a good walk-on song, it gets the crowd behind you. The great example about that was many years ago at the World Championship. Ali Pally, Vincent van der Voort, they all went da da da, Vincent van der Voort. And he played bloody marvellous that year, didn't he? Got the laugh.
It just took off, didn't it?
Yeah. All of a sudden, because he's a very quiet man, he's a lovely fella, but he's a very quiet man. Someone just shot me. Right. It's about bloody time. It's about bloody time. And, and he even smiled on stage. No, but he even smiled on stage. Vincent Van.
Casey and the Sunshine Band and Give It Up. There you go. James, if you could build the perfect darts player, which players and which part of their game would you use? So to build the perfect darts player.
Frankenstein.
Robot.
Tough question.
It's a strange question, you know, because it's an impossible one to answer, you know. Everyone's got different minds at different days, and everyone's got different arms at different days, you know. Cockiness of Eric and confidence. Consistent, solid throw. You know, you probably lean towards Phil.
No,
yeah, but it was a bit lazy. What were you, James? That's my opinion. And they're the two I'd...
A bit of you. Bit of you, bit
on
of
a good
Kim.
day, yeah. On a good day, yeah. But, you know, it's a strange question, but, you know...
Yeah.
It would be nice to see, you know, some of the older players, the personalities and the confidence and the attitude they had on the stage now. If you could knock that into some of us younger ones, it wouldn't do the game any harm.
You're with the PDC Fans Forum. Thanks, James. PDC Fans Forum with BetVictor here at the Winter Gardens in Blackpool on this Friday night, on the eve of the BetVictor World Matchplay. Plenty of questions coming in as well. We have one over here, sir, and a microphone is coming your way now. Who's it for, and what's your question?
Eric, are they doing that senior tour thing that you did before a few years back? A couple of years, and you said, "Oh, when they pay me more money, I'm going to win it."
No. They might do, yeah. It's being talked about at the moment. We've done a seniors tour about 3 years ago. We signed a 2 or 3 year deal with I'm trying to think, Santander, wasn't it? Santander. So there's me, Cliff, Keith, Bobby George, Lowy, Whitcomb, Everson, and 8 of us anyway. Obviously 8 of us. And After the first year, it went bust, didn't it? So, so they're talking about doing another one. But what I've said is I'll do it again. I will do it again. No, don't worry about it, Dosh. I'll do it again to start it off. And then what I should do is the bottom two get relegated. And then that's, you earn your right to stay in it. I don't mind going in it and starting it off again. But, I mean, if I ain't good enough to play in it, then I can just play the first year and then let them carry on. But, I mean, it'd be a good thing for darts. And people, they got the senior tour at golf and things like that. So, but if you're not playing well enough, you don't want to keep playing well on TV. Well, that's all right, yeah. You'll be all right. You must have a season ticket.
Any more questions from over here? We've got one down here. Who's it for? What's the question?
This is to James and Kim. Are they threatened by up-and-coming young good players?
Personally, no. They're good, but my own personal opinion, you get to speak in a minute.
Finally.
My own personal opinion is, I've been there and done what they're doing. I've got experience on them. Yeah, they're probably a little bit more keen, but experience does show in long distance games, and when they get to the nitty and gritty, and they pull that last dart at a double, and then I go in and sometimes hit some lucky finishes, and that's my opinion.
Do you feel threatened by younger players, Kim?
No, not really. They are good. You see players 18, 19, 20 years old, and they throw 9 darts like it's nothing. But so can we. So if we play our own games, then we can still beat the younger players or any player, older player, younger players. You just have to play your own game. They're good. But the thing is, the younger players now, they don't fear anyone as before. If you played a younger player, they really respected you and they looked up to you. And the first 4 legs, they was too nervous to play darts. But that's not like it anymore. They come to the hockey and they just basically think, who are you? And start playing darts.
Eric?
The only trouble with the younger players now that are coming through is like every weekend they play a tournament in complete hush. You're not allowed to have phones on, you're not allowed to have only one person with you cheering you on. And they get through all these tournaments and all of a sudden they qualify for a TV tournament. They come up with one of these boys who are used to all the noise and that. So I think the PDC has got to look at their tournaments at weekends and maybe let a few people in, get a bit of noise. Because, I mean, all of a sudden, these young kids come out and they play their first TV tournament, which is frightening enough anyway. Then all of a sudden, they're like a rabbit in headlights. What's all this noise? You know what I mean? Because they've been playing for weeks and weeks and weeks and no one's allowed to cough or anything. So, so I think the old senior...
That's a good thing with the European tours then, because they get a lot of experience on the European tours. They qualify sometimes.
Only the players that qualify.
Yeah.
What about these young lads who have never qualified and maybe get through?
Well, the better young lads sometimes qualify, so...
We can have an argument or what?
Please no.
Anyway,
James is in the middle, so I'm safe.
Anyway, I'd like to say these two gentlemen up here tonight both played well last weekend. As I said, semi-final and final. Both got tough games. Huybrechts has got Peter Wright, who's playing well. That's going to be a ding-donger. Mr. James Wade is playing Carl Anderson, who thinks he's a good dart player. So, he's a lovely fella. Hey, you won't meet a nicer fella in the world. Lovely fella, Carl Anderson. So they've both got like tough games. There's nobody going to have an easy game anymore. I could go through the list and maybe say there's 2 easy games, but I would not embarrass the other dart players. But these 2 players haven't got easy games. So, and that's what's great thing about this game now, because years and years ago when we first started, you looked at the 32 players at Blackpool and you think, well, he's through. And that's it. Now you can't do that anymore. And that's why our game is lovely and enjoyable to watch. And great for the bookies. That's why the bookies sponsor it. And you start predicting scores and you think you know who's going to win. And none of us know Rockall. when it comes to betting, because I mean I've seen two players come up here against each other, and I'm thinking, right, they're both playing well. That's going to be about a 10-7 each way, that one, and somebody wins 10-1, and you think, where the freaking hell did that come from? But that's what it's all about. Right.
Questions over here. Who's it for?
A question for all the panel, but primarily Eric. Eric, you were the best player I saw in the 80s. How would you compete against these boys today?
No,
and Eric, let me finish. And how would James and Kim believe you would compete against them today?
I don't know how they'd believe it. I was the best in my era. It's like having a boxer. Muhammad Ali was the best in his era. It's like you saying he wouldn't have beat Tyson, he wouldn't have beat anybody else. You can only beat the people in front of you. If the people in front of me would have had better averages, I'd have had to maybe do better. But I didn't have to do better. I just killed them all. So when you're killing them all, you don't have to practice as much. But well, I don't know what they think. Ask them.
How would you have got on against Eric Bristow, Kim?
Well, obviously Eric's a legend in darts, and he was a big dart player in his time. But when you're on the stage, he's just an opponent like anyone else, and that's the way you have to think. Phil is an opponent, James is an opponent, and nothing special about him. Just try to beat him with your 3 darts. That's it.
Is that your attitude, James?
Yeah, sort of. I think there's the 2 of the biggest influential dart players, in my opinion, were Eric and then Phil. You know, you've got others scattered around them, but I think they were the 2 main key factors. And back to what I say, everything evolves. At the time, Eric was the best. He did enough every time to win. You know, I believe if Eric was in a different era, everyone else would have been a higher standard. But obviously, he still would have done what he did because he's got that confidence, that persona that you just see. You know, when he used to play. I wouldn't want to play against any of these lot. They were sods. They really were. You know, they used to do all sorts of tricks to each other. You know, I don't know if we now would handle that. You know, they did whatever they had to do to win.
What are you laughing at?
I'm just thinking about the DNA or whatever it is, or whatever they call it, when they get fined for doing this and doing that. We never used to have no committee. We used to sort it out ourselves. If we had an argument between each other, we used to sort it out ourselves. You know, a lot of these are a bunch of puffs at the moment. You know what I mean? Yeah. Used to follow them into
it gets expensive.
Yeah. Used to follow them into the toilet nowadays. You know what I mean? Yeah. What did you say? You know what I mean? Yeah.
We've got a question over here. Yes, sir. Who's it for?
Kim, how do you think you would? Do you think you'd be doing as well now if your brother hadn't? If he wasn't in the PDC as well now, do you think is he a big influence on how well you're doing now?
Well, he's obviously a big influence, but I don't think he would make that much of a difference. We're both on the PDC to do our job. He does his job. I have to do mine. We try to back each other up, we support each other, but at the end of the day, we both have to do a separate job, and I don't think I would be in a different place if he wasn't there.
And we've got another question down this part of the room. Who's it for?
Hiya, it's for Eric. When you got beat by Jan Mulby, did you have a good drink with him after?
Yeah, he's all right. He's lovely.
Yeah, he's lovely.
He is lovely. It was lovely. It's the first time I played in front of about 9,500 people for about 25 years. The first time I ever done it was at the News of the World final, and he was nervous wreck. And I'll give him the first thing. I made a boo-boo there. I'll give him the first thing. I won the second leg, and he went out on 95 the third leg, didn't he? But yeah, Jan Mulby, lovely fella. Played him at Liverpool Echo Arena, and
it's all on YouTube still.
It was hey, it's there forever, isn't it? it's there forever. And to go back to that last question, I mean, Kim, it's lovely to see him play with his brother in the World Pairs. Because I think that's like they play singles all their life and they try and do well. But then all of a sudden, how many brothers get the opportunity to play for their country as a pair? And you can see it in it. And his brother used to play crap a couple of games, and all of a sudden last year he played bloody brilliant one game, and the bonding. That's what it's all about. It's great. It must be a great feeling, that. You know what I mean?
And another question over here. Yes, sir.
Hi, it's a question for James. Hi, James. Last year, when you were omitted from the Premier League, how did this affect you mentally, and do you think it spurred you on to sort of prove a point to get back in the year after?
Yeah. No, I don't know what to say with that one. Yeah, I was relieved of my duties for the Premier League, for being... no, maybe not. Maybe a little bit, but, you know, I did things wrong, you know. In my opinion, they weren't that bad, but the people, the powers above, thought it was. So, you know, I paid the ultimate price. I'm a much better behaved young man now. And
right.
I'll be honest with you, it made me feel like crap. It was the biggest kick I've ever had, you know, and some people said it was, you know, it's the best thing that ever happened to me. At the time, it wasn't, you know. At the time, that could have been the finishing of me. But, you know, I thought, no, it's sod you lot, I'll have the last word, and, you know, it gave me a kick up the backside, and it's pushed me on, you know. It's been one of the things that's helped me move on. Not for the reasons that people think, but because of my own determination. So, you know, it hurt, but I did wrong. I paid the ultimate price. Must behave now.
Good answer, James. Thanks very much for that. Great stuff. And by the way, ladies and gentlemen, there's a guy just walked into the room. He's got a match tomorrow night, but I think we'll wish him all the very best. Yella Klassen has just arrived in the room. Good to see you, Yella, and all the very best for tomorrow night.
Now, there's another guy who's starting to play well on the PDC Tour at the moment. Hey, so, I mean, as I said before, there's 13, 14 players that can...
Simon Whitlock versus Yella Klassen, 7 o'clock tomorrow night.
Well, I'm afraid I've had Yella Klassen to win that. But,
how do you feel about that, Yella?
Yeah. I think Yella's playing well, and I think Simon's struggling a bit. So, if Yella hits him earlier on, I think Simon will fold. So, I'll go for all 4 games if you want tomorrow night.
Well, we've got Whitlock, Klassen, Peter Wright, and Kim.
Peter Wright and Kim. I think Peter Wright and Kim's going to be the worst draw in the world for the pair of them. I think Kim's over the moon over last weekend. I think Peter Wright will nick it 10-8.
Ooh.
I don't tell. Listen, these gentlemen know I don't tell lies. I don't talk behind their back. I always talk in front of them. And he would love to prove me wrong tomorrow. So that is the most important thing. That is the most important thing.
Michael van Gerwen against Benito van der Pas.
Benito van der Pas has beat Michael van Gerwen in 2 or 3 tournaments on the trot. He's got no chance tomorrow. Michael van Gerwen will rip his head up.
And finally tomorrow, Adrian Lewis and Joe Mernon.
Yeah, well, Adrian Lewis is so lucky he's got a draw like that. Because if he'd had a decent player, he'd be going home first round as well. So Lewis will just do his normal stuff. He'll do 11, 12 dart, he'll lose 3 legs on the trot, go asleep, and he'll most likely fall over the line about 10-8 as well. And then he won't last long anyway.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much indeed for coming along tonight. I'm sure you'll agree we've had great value from these 3 fellas at the PDC Fans Forum. We are planning more Fans Forums coming up in Dublin ahead of the Grand Prix, in Wolverhampton ahead of the Grand Slam, and in London ahead of the World Championships as well. So very much looking forward to that. The panel have been fantastic. By the way, just to say as well, the boys are going to stick around and sign autographs. If you'd like to form an orderly queue down towards the left-hand side of the stage as I look at it, and they will sign autographs for you. Thanks to BetVictor. Thanks to you for coming along. Thanks for watching wherever you are in the world here on the PDC YouTube. But ladies and gentlemen, Eric Bristow, James Wade and Kim Huybrechts. From me, Nigel Pearson of Sky Sports, thanks for watching and have a very good evening and enjoy 9 days of BetVictor World Matchplay Darts. Good night.